The NBA Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Sign up at underdogfantasy.com. Promo code NBA SGPN. Get up to $1,000 in bonus credits. Yes, sir. We're back with another edition of the NBA Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. No meaning or voice, guys. Me, Terrell Furman Jr. here at your service.
How about if you sweep it out?
What's the point? I can't do anything right.
You'll do fine.
Hey, pal. You just blowing from Stupid Town?
Yeah, very much so. Why did I ever fade the Heat as a dog? Come on, man. I'm not supposed to do that. You're not supposed to do that. I was really locked in on the Bulls, man. Bulls fans.
They were fun. They were really, really fun until the game actually started. And then
the bell has to ring. You can be all smoke and mirrors when you have your entrance. You can do the big lights, the flashes, and all of that. But at some point, the bell has to ring, and Billy Donovan has to actually coach. Yeah, I'm fine.
That's future Hall of Famer Billy Donovan, who got inducted this year.
He is. He actually is. Wow.
A reminder, the Basketball Hall of Fame includes college. We're throwing that out there for Billy Donovan.
Yep. Because if it didn't,
no chance in hell. No chance.
Oh, man. Here we go. Scott Reichel. If you guys didn't know who you're talking to, Scott, what's going on?
Scotty, beat me up.
Surprise.
So I'm not sure which sound effect I'm supposed to play, because I ended up getting the reverse sweep in the Warriors game because of Gary Payton II having a solid game. But I ended up sweeping the Mothership show. So I don't know what to play. Do I play anything? Man. Do they cancel each other out? What do I do?
No. Because I hit the dog in the Mothership show. Well, didn't I? No. I don't think I went Dallas, actually.
I'm not even sure. No, that's why I'm asking. Do I play the reverse sweep sound effect, or do I not play anything because they cancel? What do I do?
This is probably about to break the matrix. You probably should just leave it alone.
I'm just gonna not touch anything.
Yeah, don't touch anything for you.
It's like butterfly effect. If I touch one thing, the whole planet explodes. I'll figure it out.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. Don't do anything. Let's just stand here and get ready to talk about a couple of more series here, Scott. I mean, we've got the Warriors and the Rockets, and we've got the Celtics and the Magic. I think one we can have a discussion about. I think the other
just comes down to length. It just comes down to if you're picking Orlando to win a game or not.
Yeah, pretty much. And how much you really think that maybe this Jaylen Brown injury has anything to do with the Celtics, but it's probably going to end up being a quick conversation here, Scott. Real quick, before we get to that, because I have to go over. I did say I took the Bulls money line. Shout out to Lonte, who had the Heat. I faded Heat as a dog, and that's honestly what I get. The dog was AD, Scott. AD 30+ in a win.
What was he, 2 for 9 in the first quarter?
Yep.
And I found the right number.
But it's like it's really frustrating because it wasn't even like he was 2 for 9 and he was just complete ass early. Like, it wasn't even that. He wasn't getting calls early. Like, they legitimately were not calling fouls. And I know for a fact there were 2 drives to the basket where he legit got fouled. They didn't call it. If they called it and he hit those free throws, 31 points, I'm good.
Yeah, I know that for my lock on the Mothership show, my lock was 80 over 25.5. And he finished with 27. So I felt pretty fortunate that he got the 27. But shout out to, I'll ask you this actually, which benching was more surprising? Kuminga?
Mr. Dinwiddie.
Or Dinwiddie? Was Dinwiddie for you?
It was Dinwiddie was out of nowhere. Kuminga, I just admitted to we handicapped that.
Oh no, I meant the Clippers game for Kuminga.
Yeah, I know.
I'm not talking about the playing game against the Grizzlies. I meant the first time around.
The very, very first
final regular season game. Which one?
Okay. So which one was more out of that? I don't know. I still think it's Dinwiddie because I just feel like that came. Like, I feel like you have a deficit at the guard position, the point guard position, and Dinwiddie can play point guard, and they legit did not play him. It was,
They looked really good without him, to be fair.
and you know what's really frustrating is because I ended up taking Dinwiddie over 9.5 points because it was really, really good.
Because he played in garbage time, so I didn't even void.
No, and that's what I'm saying. The 2 minute, like the whole game, I'm like, all right, well, at least if he doesn't play, like we just void and move on from this. And then they're beating them so bad, he gets 2 minutes at the end of the game.
Yeah.
But it's like, I don't know. He's been really, really good playing alongside AD. He's been, I mean, I understand he went 1 for 10 the last game of the season, but like, is he that much in the doghouse? Like, he didn't play him at all. Brandon Williams, Dante Exum, even Max Christie got like 7 minutes. Like,
well, Christie played 13, but if you're going for the actual guard position, truth is he might just not have played because Brandon Williams might actually be really good. Guy can play. Play. And it seems like the Mavericks wanted to go younger. They wanted to get a little bit quicker maybe because the Kings want to play with pace. But I don't know. I mean, Dinwiddie not playing was shocking, but you saw Brandon Williams and you saw Exum, and they're actually looking pretty good out there. That I feel like they decided to maybe focus on defense, and they felt Dinwiddie was a liability in that area. But the Mavericks played well. I mean, the Kings and the Bulls had embarrassing no-shows at home for their playoff elimination. But both those teams, I mean, the Bulls, you could argue, once again, were, I don't want to say fortunate to make the plan, but they had a massive heater at the end of the year that got them into the spot in the first place. The Kings, when you compare them to their preseason expectations, getting DeRozan, you get Levine mid-season. I know you trade away Fox in the process, but like, damn, that season was from hell for Sacramento. Yeah. The Bulls at least can spin it in a positive way. The Kings have nothing. Which I think you'd agree with. What do the Kings have? They got nothing.
Fired GM. That's what they have.
Yeah, they also lost their coach. They fired the GM after the game. Coach is in Mike Brown.
They didn't even make it to the next morning.
No, they didn't even make it. And
fired.
You have to wonder what they're going to do with Sabonis moving forward. Like, I don't know what they're supposed to do. Nobody's going to want DeRozan or Levine for, like, legitimate compensation.
They're literally in the same predicament that Chicago was just in.
Yeah, pretty much. Except the Kings escaped the, I'd say, irrelevance, place in the league for about a year. Didn't win a round. Lost game 7 at home by about 30. Now they're back to where they've always been. The Kings are dealing with it right now.
They should send Sabonis to Indiana for Tyrese Halliburton.
I have a feeling that Indiana would say no, but they might get Andrew Nembhard out of it. Does that count for something? Yeah. Miles Turner? Can I just do Miles Turner and maybe somebody else?
Get Miles Turner and Andrew Nembhard?
I have no, they wouldn't get both. I'm saying like just offering some trades back, but like I don't even know what Sabonis is worth. Because like he's a fringe stats wise all-star every year. And yet you watch him in the playoffs and he gets torched every year because he can't guard anybody, and he's not a great shooter from the outside. So I don't really know what he's even worth. I think he's a very unique player. He's fun for player props, great rebounder, but I don't know what he would be on a good team. Is he like the third best option on a good team? I have no idea.
I think
he's such a weird player to evaluate.
I think he can be a better scoring. Well, no.
He's not a 2 on a title team. Is he a 3 or a 4? Like, I don't know what he is.
I think he just needs to be the point forward. You're somebody that you trust initiating your offense, kind of like a point guard. And
that's the problem, though, is that
you got everybody
guys around him.
Yeah, and you got to have all these better guys around him. But like, I don't know. I don't think we're in the days of seeing Sabonis just kind of lead a team anywhere.
I think he's in the wrong era. I think he would have been really good, like maybe dealing with, or at least being in the Western Conference with like Zach Randolph or Blake Griffin. You throw him in like that era when you actually did not need your forward to shoot that well from the outside. I think he would have been a lot more successful in terms of building a team around him. But in today's NBA, you're paying him that much money, and he doesn't really space the floor, and he doesn't play any defense. So you're kind of stuck. And as you said, you'd want him to be maybe like a point forward, but that would imply that you don't have guys around him who you'd rather see have the ball.
Yeah.
Like, I just don't know what Sabonis is in today's NBA.
Feels
in the
like
playoffs, I mean. Regular season, he's fun.
Feels like he's on a team that's not crafted for him, and his team has to be perfectly crafted for him to be able to succeed.
Yeah, and they're paying him a lot of money, so the Kings have a serious problem on their hands.
NBA playoffs are here, and SGPN is running another free contest. Pick every NBA playoff game, ATS. $1,000 goes to first place in a winner take all. Enter today at sportsgamblingpodcast.com/NBA playoffs. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/NBA playoffs for a $1,000 winner take all NBA playoffs ATS contest. All right.
You want to do the good one or the bad one first?
Nah, let's go do the bad one and get it over with. We'll save the good one for the end. Eastern Conference 2 seed Boston Celtics. It's going 7 games with the 7 seed Orlando Magic. Scott, at some books, when it opened, this line was minus 10,000 Boston Celtics.
I saw 5,000 on DraftKings. So shop your ones.
Now, it is now minus 5,000. At one point, it was minus 10,000.
Once again, shop your ones.
Orlando is currently 16-1. You look at the series spread, and it's pretty much what everybody's looking at. And you've got, oh wow, I don't even have
what
DraftKings does. DraftKings doesn't even have 3.5 games up here for the spread.
Well, it would just be correct score 4-0, which is plus 105.
Yeah, that is plus 105.
It's the same thing. So
no, but where's Orlando plus 3.5?
That's a good question.
I would have to. Oh, I gotta go to a different book and find a price on that. But basically, you all understand, as you should. The Celtics are really, 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 really big favorites. They're basically expected to sweep, and your only option of making money is Orlando gonna win a game? Or
I'm gonna let you go first on this one because I'm gonna pull up the Celtics. Okay, so let me just see if I can find a spread here. Okay, so the Magic plus 3.5 I see available at minus 158. But that's on FanDuel. You can probably find a better number elsewhere. But
all right, shop around. Look, ultimately, I do think they win a game, and we've seen this Celtics team kind of cruise over the course of the entire season, and I think that's ultimately where I have this at. I think that Orlando has matched up with them okay, and they've stolen a game here or there during the regular season. Nothing that gives me any pause that they're actually going to get this done for 4 games. But we've had Joe Mazzulla at times during his playoff run just kind of allow this team to no-show at home at times because they're so good on the road, and they can go on the road and sweep 2-0. So, like, they really don't care if they drop a game at home or if they drop a game at all because they're just so confident in how they're able to win a series. So, ultimately, I'll wait. I could be wrong about this. Maybe the Celtics flip a switch, but I'm just going to handicap them on what I've seen all season. What I've seen all season is that when this team is a heavy favorite in any situation, they let down slightly. They weren't consistent as double-digit favorites over the course of the entire season. They have fallen into letdown spots multiple times the entire season. I don't think there's any shot that they lose this series, actually. But if you tell me that they're going to underperform, which they've actually done more often than not in playoff series, it's just the fact that nobody notices because they've been such big favorites like this. They keep being favorited to sweep or win in 5 games, and then sometimes they may drop 1 or 2. But, like, nah. I think this is one where Orlando actually can match up and have one good game. One good game where Banchero is on. You probably get some weird contribution from Wendell Carter inside as a big, and you got Wagner as well. So, yeah, I will take the Magic to win 1 game plus 3.5 games.
So I'm going to agree with you basically to a T. I did find a better price for the Celtics minus 3.5. I did find plus 128, which is why the FanDuel line's pretty high on the Magic because you can get a better price just by comparison for the sweep. Boston, we saw mess around. They ended up losing a game to Miami. We saw them lose a game to the Cavs. I know the Cavs were healthy at that point. They got injured later in the year. Did sweep Indiana. They shouldn't have. They should have lost 2 of those games, but that's the only sweep they had in the entire postseason. So I think Boston messes around. See, the thing that I think will help Orlando win a game in the series is the Jaylen Brown injury. And not just because of him looking a bit, I'd say, shaky, I mean asking if Boston sits him for a game. Is there a chance Boston just decides we don't need him for this series, so why would we force him back? We saw with Porzingis last year. They kind of waited until they needed him potentially, and they brought him back for the finals. I do wonder if Jaylen Brown misses a couple games here with the knee issue, and they say we can get by this team anyway. Why would we force you back?
I don't think they do. Basically, no team has ever, like, if they're in this situation, has ever just kind of sat the guy.
Yeah.
Uh,
Maybe mid-series. He's not looking great. You say, you know what? You'll take a game off, and we'll let you get some extra rest.
And yeah,
Possibility.
it could also, maybe it does get a little worse or something for him, and they're like, all right, take a day off. But as of right now, it seems like they gave him the pain injections. They're going through the troubles of letting us know that he practiced fully. You know, what was it, like 2-3 days before the series actually starts? Like they're going through all this to show us that he's 100% gonna play. I don't think he needs to. I think you get through this without him if you just sit him the whole series and say, all right, let's go round 2, and that'll be your warm-up before we get to the Eastern Conference Finals. But they're not going to do that. And so I think that's going to hurt them long term.
I'm just throwing it out there because it is a talking point, and there is a chance maybe Brown misses a game or two.
I think, and even if he does, I think that it doesn't do anything for them now, but it probably hurts them long term.
Yeah. Well, I was kind of wondering with the Franz and Paolo matchups, you do want Jaylen out there for at least the size. So I was wondering if that would help Orlando win a game. I'll give Orlando 1. I see Roby mentioning that 5 games exactly is a 2-1. That's how I would play it if I had to play it, because I don't see Orlando winning 2 games in the series personally. The main issue here is the 3-point differential, because you're looking at the Celtics, and we know that they are, at sometimes to a fault, they did win the title doing this. They attempt a ton of threes. They are averaging the most made 3-pointers per game by roughly 2. Mm-hmm. They're averaging 17.8 makes per game. Orlando this season, by comparison, is dead last in the league at 11.2. In a 3-point driven league, you can't make the fewest and beat the team with the most. Maybe for a 1-game sample size in March Madness, where one team goes cold. But you don't go cold for an entire series. If Orlando gets hot like the Heat did that one year, maybe they'll win a couple games against this team. I don't see it. I think that the 3-point differential will be too massive. Orlando can't shoot. Boston can. They can easily make up massive deficits by just hitting 3-pointers in about a 6-minute stretch. And Orlando's going to have a couple of offensive, I'd say, slumps where they just can't score for about 4 minutes. That's the issue I run into. That's why Boston will win. I'll give Orlando 1 game at home. Boston no-shows a game. Orlando has the crowd. They'll find a way to win behind maybe a 35 piece from Paolo, and they'll find a way to get by. But for me, Cole Anthony, Greg Anthony, Carmelo Anthony, Celtics in 5.
And they're double-digit favorites, man. Like, they're going to be double-digit favorites this entire series, and that's just been a horrible spot for them all year. I easily see myself betting Orlando the entire series on the spread. But Orlando has a couple of wins. Like, it's not like they don't know how to beat this team. They have a couple of wins over the past couple of seasons over Boston that were actually impressive for the times that they got them. And so, yeah, I think 1 feels pretty guaranteed for me. But 2, that's where, hey, if I want to take a little piece of it and I want to cash a little bit of extra money, then I sprinkle a little bit on 2. Because I could see Boston be up 3-1 at home and just cruise control through the game. And then next thing you know, oh crap, we accidentally lost. Similar to, remember that Hawks game where they were playing the Atlanta Hawks series?
DeJounte didn't play and Trey had the game winner.
Yep. Yeah. I could see something very similar to that. And that actually helped me cash the plus 2.5 games. That was some nice plus money on the Hawks that season. So
you took that every series, by the way.
And it cashed every series because they just continued. They continued to bullshit through the series, and then they had the championship run that was pretty dominant. But like I remember those series that they continued to bullshit, and they would just win 2 games. It would be 4-2 every series. So
even the title run was kind of full of that too. They just were against pretty weak competition.
Oh no, they were supposed. You said it. It was supposed to be a 4-2 series against Indiana. That was supposed to end 4-2, but because of all the extras, all the bullshit, and all that, they end up, sweeping them. But that was they had a chance to win 2 games there. So I'm still gonna do it. I'm taking the plus 2.5 games for some nice plus money, or I'm taking 4-2 whichever one I'm gonna look, see whichever one I can get a better price on. But I'm still gonna put a nice little piece bet on that. But I feel really good about them winning one game. I think they win exactly one right now.
Yeah, in the regular season, they gave Boston some problems. It means nothing. But the point is that Orlando can find an opening if it is a close game to get the job done. I'll give them one. I like the Roby play the most at 5 games exactly because I'm trying to find value here. I mean, if you're looking at Boston to sweep once again, it's around plus 128. Boston minus 2.5 games is minus 425. Like, you really can't bet anything unless you want to go for Orlando or you want to pick an exact game counter. I'll go with Boston to win 4-1. It's plus 190. I saw Roby mentioning it was around, once again, 5 games exactly is a 2-1. I like that as my favorite option, but it's pretty ugly.
Let me see. Boston, Orlando, Boston is plus 475.
That's Orlando game 3, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's the same thing. So Orlando just to get game 3 or game 4 exact is plus 475 both ways.
Yeah, the problem we're into though is that Boston always punts home playoff games.
Yeah, I'm looking for game 5, man. I feel like game 5 is the one where you win money. And if Orlando,
it could be either that or maybe Boston shows game 1 or 2. But
okay, so Boston to sweep game 1 and 2, win either game 3. I mean, lose either game 3 or game 4, and then Orlando steals game 5 at home just for Boston to come back in the series. Both ways, whichever way you want to play it, whether Orlando wins game 3 or wins game 4, 45-1.
That is a pretty fun price.
Dude, that's how I'm playing it.
I think Orlando is going to keep some games closer than you think. You'll look up and go, wait, Orlando's leading in the third quarter?
Yep.
And then Boston goes on a run, Orlando can't score, and then the Celtics win by like 5. I don't want to lay points with Boston in a lot of games in the series. I think Orlando is a good dog getting points where they can hang around, but I don't see them getting enough made 3-pointers to compete with Boston over a 48-minute stretch. That's kind of where I'm at. It's a math game for me.
14.5 is the spread of the first.
I'm not laying that with Boston, but I'm picking Orlando to once again fight valiantly, to hang in there to some degree, but they won't make enough shots. And that's just how it's going to go. Did you see Franz, by the way, in that Hawks game? Couldn't hit a 3-pointer to save his life in that entire game.
Yeah,
he got ugly.
He gets into some stretches where he just can't hit a shot, and you're like, Jesus Christ. But then
he airballed one to the right, where it was grabbed by a Hawks guy, and it airballed by like 3 feet to the right. I'm like, what? Somebody leave a window open? Like that's not the problem you run into. Cole Anthony caught fire in that game against Atlanta, and I know Atlanta sucks, but that's one of their only good 3-point shooters on the team. Caldwell Pope has not worked out this season from a shooting perspective. Defensively, still fine. You don't have many shooters, and that's a problem when you're against the most, I'd say, the deepest 3-point shooting team in the league. Yeah. Maybe Cleveland, but that's a problem you run into in the grand scheme.
All right. Scott, I'm pretty sure if I just what would I put if I put a half unit? Let's say that. We really don't talk in units for real, but let's say I put a half unit, or I was thinking of putting a half unit on, let's say Boston 4-2. You're like, oh, the villain, he sounds like, what if it does happen? Let me just sprinkle something. You sprinkle a half unit. Instead of doing that, and if I just took that quarter unit and put it on the exacta and just split it up between game 3 and game 4 and just say that Orlando wins one or the other. I don't know which one, but wins one or the other and then steals the game at Boston. Oh, dude. You get way more return in your investment for just going for the exacta there on the 6. But it has to be either down 2-0 getting back to Orlando. If they steal one early, that screws everything up here.
That's kind of what I was wondering is, do you think Orlando's got a chance to maybe steal game 2? Game 2 seemed to always be Boston's kryptonite at home. They'd win game 1 comfortably, they'd take a nap in game 2, and then end up losing. From what I remember, at least. That's usually how it went. But at the end of the day, we're picking Boston to dominate as a whole, so we're trying to find some value. There's no value in Boston, unless you're trying to take them to sweep or you want an exact outcome in 5. That's basically it.
I really think the Boston, Orlando, Boston.
Okay.
That's what I'm 100% getting down on. I think because winning game 4 and then game 5 directly after that is like a really, really tough task. So
Yeah.
Boston, Orlando, Boston. Boston goes back to Boston, feeling a little bit comfortable. Paolo Banchero has some crazy game, and they win game 5, and then get obliterated game 6.
Yeah, I'm trying to look at the player props, see if I'm interested in anything. I see Derek White's the leader in threes at plus 115. Tatum's at 230.
Mm-hmm.
I'd probably consider Tatum for volume. I know Derek White shoots a lot too, but I'd probably consider Tatum at 230 for volume.
Mm-hmm.
Pritchard at 14-1. I don't know how many minutes he's going to play, but that could be interesting, but I'm not going to take that. Rebounds, Tatum's at plus 105. Banchero's at 240. Any interest in Wendell Carter Jr. at 650?
No.
No? Okay. I know that we're not the biggest fans, but he has been playing better lately. It
It's-
does involve, fading Boston's defense against centers.
It's
So
how
that's
they.
why I was
It's
asking.
really how they play. Like, it's a lot of like Wendell Carter will box out the big and not grab the rebound because he's battling with the big, and then
And
somebody
Banchero
else.
or Franz will come in
Yeah,
take
and
the
they
rebound.
clean up the rebound. So that's really the only way that that's the only reason I'm not on it. But I definitely see the angle. I 100% see the angle.
Yeah, and Tatum for assists is at minus 110. I see Drew Holiday at 15-1 for assist leader, and I'm wondering how many minutes he's going to play. But you might get creative with the player prop stuff.
Plus
but
145 for I am. I'm not a Jason Tatum guy. I don't ever get up here to talk about Jason Tatum. Like, seriously, when's the last time I got up here and said, "Hey, take Jason Tatum over," or take a Jason Tatum prop?
I don't think I'd want his assists.
I don't think we've ever sat here and really talked about it.
I've taken his rebounds frequently because he's a pretty
Oh
underrated
yeah,
rebounder.
But like, and that's why he's plus 105. That's decent. Plus 145 to be the series totals point leader.
Yeah, it's not bad.
I mean, it's not going to be Jaylen Brown.
No.
Paolo's the main defensive assignment. Like, they're all focused, and Paolo doesn't even have really the best of games. Like, he has some pretty solid games, like some really, really solid games, but like 23 points doesn't win this, does it? It's got to be more.
No, it's got to be more. I mean, I think you're on to something because Boston's defense we're also expecting to shut down Orlando to some degree. So, yeah, Tatum probably averages 25 minimum, which is probably enough.
Or I would go completely off the reservation. What is Porzingis versus the Magic?
I took the threes approach instead of like plus 230, plus 240, but I get where your head's at for the points.
Yeah.
Porzingis for points is at 20-1.
Yeah, I feel like that's like, let's see here. Yeah, he's been okay.
He's fine.
He's been okay.
You're kind of penciling in one Porzingis game where he does nothing and Boston wins anyway.
Yeah, it really feels like that's just Jason Tatum's spot to win, bro.
I agree.
All right.
But Jaylen Brown's the worst bet you could make in pretty much any of these player props because I don't know if he's going to miss a game.
Oh, man, I wish they would offer an over-under.
Yeah, same here.
I would definitely look that direction. And they might a little bit closer to the game, so make sure you look around for that.
Yep.
All right. Before we get to move on to the next series, got to talk to you about Edge Boost. Ever had a deposit blocked by your bank right before a big bet? Ever needed cash at 2 a.m. for another shot at the tables, but hit your ATM limit? Edge Boost has your back. Edge Boost is the first ever bank account built for bettors. Edge Boost gives you a fast, reliable access to your funds, making it easier to move money where and when you need it without the delays that can come with traditional banks. For you high rollers, you can move up to $2,500,000 on your Edge Boost Visa debit card with unlimited withdrawals. This works 24/7 for instant deposits. You'll never have to wait for a wire to clear again. And it even gets better because every time you deposit into a qualified gambling account, you earn cashback rewards up to 0.5%. All this for no usage fees and no minimum balance. Again, Edge Boost is a debit account that makes it easy to get started with no credit checks, no minimum balance, no usage fees. Simply verify your identity and you're ready to go. So, what are you waiting for? Go to edgeboost.bet, promo code SGPN. That's edgeboost.bet, promo code SGPN. We're also brought to you by mybookie.ag, your place to bet every single sport, including the NBA playoffs. You can bet everything. Hell, you can even bet the WWE over there at mybookie.ag. NFL draft, they got it all. MyBookie accepts customers from a ton of different locations. So, easy deposit and lightning fast payouts with cryptocurrency. Head over to mybookie.ag, promo code SGPN for 100% deposit match up to $1,000. Terms and conditions apply. That's mybookie.ag, promo code SGPN. All right, Scott. Let's get to the next series. this really pisses me off because we're both in agreement of how this should happen. We both had this scouted out for a long time, and apparently the books did too, because they completely flipped the line from anywhere that I wanted this line to be. The 2 seed Houston Rockets are going up against the Golden State Warriors, the 7 seed. The Golden State Warriors, the 7 seed, are favored to win the series minus 190, Rockets plus 155. It's actually really, really annoying how big of a favorite Golden State is right now.
I have a trivia question for you, though, before we officially dive into it.
Yeah.
So, a 7 seed has been favored over a 2 seed, I believe, one time in NBA playoff history. Do you want to guess the series?
Was it Golden State versus the Kings?
No.
Hmm.
It was the Lakers-Suns series from a couple years ago.
Oh,
and
yeah,
the Suns did win the
still won.
series.
Yeah, the Suns still won. I remember being on the Lakers in that series.
I believe that was the Drummond series where he did the mimicking of the LeBron post move, and they didn't win a game after that. AD got hurt, I remember, in that series too, but that was the only time I believe a 7 seed has been favored over a 2, and they lost.
Insane dick riding.
So, happened one time in NBA history. So
while the game's going on, really, man?
Yeah. Well, he thought LeBron was going to carry him to a ring, and they didn't win a game after that. But the point is, this has happened one time before, and the 2 seed did win. So throwing it out there for some historical precedent.
Yep.
It's rare circumstance, though, it's 7's favored over a 2.
All right. You got Golden State laying 1.5 games at minus 105. Houston catching 1.5 games at minus 115. Total games 5.5 over minus 175, under plus 145.
Well,
this was such a better bet. I'll say this. This was such a better bet when I thought we were getting plus money with Golden State.
At no point did I think we were getting plus money with Golden State, to be clear. We got to remember, we've been reading off Houston's odds to win the Western Conference on FanDuel for like 2 months. They were 40-1 as the 2 seed like a month ago.
Yeah.
FanDuel's hated this team for an eternity. Like the sports books basically were daring Houston to prove anything to them.
But minus 190?
That's a lot. I thought Golden State would be like minus 130. I thought that they'd be slight favorites, nothing extreme, but I did not think at any point Houston would be favored in the series.
The fact that 1.5 games is minus 115 is ridiculous. I would have liked to see Houston as I would have liked to see Houston minus 130. And then
I thought 130 was a reasonable number for a team with home court. I would have picked Golden State to be favored, but I figured Houston would be somewhat close because if they win all 4 home games, they win the series. As simple as that.
So the handicap doesn't change. It's just the prices attached to what I would have liked to see are not there. But, I mean, the last game showed me that Houston can have life in this series.
Mm.
I think that if they didn't show me what happened in the last game that Houston played against the Golden State Warriors, where they played the double big lineup a lot, where they completely blitz and trap Steph every single opportunity they could, and he had 3 points. Yes. If I didn't see that game, I think I would have told you here that it goes 5. And we should probably take a really strong look at the under 5.5 games and that this team really just can't beat the Rockets. Because I saw that game and I saw that
can't beat the Warriors.
I mean, yeah, this team can't beat the Warriors. But because I saw that game and I saw the adjustments and I saw Houston look really, really good, yeah, they could probably get a couple of games. This could actually be a competitive series. There's no point in this series there's no point at this juncture where I feel like Golden State is not going to win this series. I think that Houston could surprise me and make this very, very competitive, and it gets to 7, and then I will still take Golden State in a game 7, regardless of being at Houston. I will take Golden State in a game 7. But I think the Rockets, for me, just told me that, okay, this might be a little bit longer than what I thought it was initially.
I think we're on the same page here. I did want to see if I could find an update on the Warriors road playoff streak, because at one point they had won at least one road game in 28 straight playoff series, but I don't remember if they got snapped against the Lakers when they played a couple years ago.
It did. It ended that series against the Lakers. They didn't win a game in Los Angeles. They only won the games in Chase Center.
Okay.
And so that was and then every other time, I believe, before that. But I think that was the series that snapped it, that last series against the Lakers they played. So
the point is Golden State usually you pencil in to
for
at
one
least
road
steal
game,
home court back at some point. And I'm
And
not
I
picking
think,
Houston to win every home game.
and that's exactly what this line says. This line says they're guaranteed to steal home court back in one of the first 2 games.
Yeah, pretty much.
Like, home
And
court has
I'm
no
going to
factor
ask
here.
you, do you believe that's going to happen?
Yes.
Okay, I do too. So I think Golden State will take one of these 2 games. Now, I do want to ask you because, one, we saw Houston just beat this team.
Mm-hmm.
2, we saw Golden State win against Memphis. I want to ask what your takeaways were from that Memphis game. Because Memphis did a lot of things with the size that they had. We know Jaren Jackson never rebounds. And
Mm-hmm.
Edey looked awful in the entire game, but still at 17 rebounds. They could not rebound the ball. Memphis was all over the glass. That's why I picked Memphis to keep the game close and why Memphis hung around and eventually covered the spread. It was because they got so many second chances just in possessions and how they were able to really just manhandle the front line of Golden State because they voluntarily play small. Now you throw in Adams, who I think build-wise is similar to Edey, but he's actually coordinated. So I think that's an upgrade for Houston, but same type of build, and you're looking at Şengün as well. There's a path for Houston to really frustrate Golden State by just winning the rebounding battle by like 15 plus in every game. There's a path there. And I guess the question that I have for you about the Memphis game, how do you feel about that outcome? Because you basically needed Curry and Butler to go God mode in that game and the Clippers game 10 this season. They lost the Clippers game, but still. I'll put it this way. How much does Curry and Butler need to carry for Golden State to win the series? Do they need to average like 60 points a game?
Maybe not that much, but they're both going to definitely. You can't have. They both cannot, for sure. I mean, this is stating obvious. They both cannot have a bad game. But if you have one or the other that has a bad game and one has a good game, I think that could be enough for depending on, because I think these are going to be lower scoring games. So it's not going to be a lot of points that I think either team is going to need in most of these games to be able to just get a win.
I'm
And
taking
so,
the under in like every game of
yeah.
the series, to be clear.
Yeah.
But I was just wondering, because watching the Warriors the last couple games and one flaw, one red flag that I have for a long-term run with this team right now, I was a fan of the depth. Podziemski was shooting out of his mind. You're expecting that to regress at some point. But I feel like this team, I understand you want to put the ball in your best player's hands. They are so reliant on Curry and Butler offensively that when you face off against an elite defense and an elite defensive head coach who can maybe game plan one of them out of the game, do they have enough around that other elite star player to score enough points to win? And the counterpoint is, well, Houston's offense might not be that great anyway, so they might end up having their own issues. That's definitely true. But my concern is if you're relying on Steph and Butler to drop 55-plus points in every game, to have a shot at winning, is there a potential upset script? I think the answer is yes. I would pick Golden State to win, but I think it's a lot closer than the odds makers suggest.
Yeah.
And I think Houston is actually built pretty well to frustrate this team with their size, their length, and their depth. I see a lot of potential issues that Houston can pose for Golden State's team. I'm picking Golden State. I think experience matters, and I do think that in a Game 7, I'm taking Curry and Butler. It's just how it's going to go. But I do think this will go 7. I see a very long, a very grueling series, a couple of one-possession games late where Golden State finds a way to win. Maybe an overtime game, too. I don't mind an overtime game prop in this series, too. But I think that Golden State will survive barely and win a Game 7 in Houston. That's my thoughts on the series.
Me too, man. Me too.
I'm not as high on Golden State as I was 2 weeks ago, and I'm not happy about it.
I'm not happy about it either. And I hate to say that one game made me change that philosophy, but Ime really, really played that last game against Golden State masterfully. And will we see a game like that again? I don't think so. But will we see something similar and the Rockets steal some wins out of here? I really do think so. I don't think it was the layup that I had it pegged for early. And I'm able to say that. I like Golden State. I'm with you. I think we like the same thing. I like Golden State in 7. I like Golden State in 6.
Yeah.
I'll take my shot at 6, but I like them in 7. And if I had to play the spread, I would actually play Rockets plus 1.5. I feel more confident about this going 7 than this going 6. And it's just because I feel like Steve Kerr can give them a couple of games.
So if I have to ask you, because we've already seen Kerr play a coach against Udoka in a playoff series, bit different, we know, because Tatum and Brown were younger, and Tatum was awful the entire series, and we'll see what happens this time around. But I do want to ask you, in terms of confidence, what percentage chance would you give Golden State to win the series?
75.
Okay. I think I'm closer to 60.
Yeah, I'm around there.
I think I was 75 2 weeks ago. But watching Golden State play the last couple games, I have just not been that impressed by how they finished the season and really how much they are putting on Curry and Butler to carry this offense.
Yeah.
It's problematic against an elite defense.
Despite, I think the thing that, because I saw the double big lineup, and I'm like, oh, okay, that's kind of annoying, but they'll get over that in a couple of games. But then I saw 80 in foul trouble still grab, 15, 16 rebounds?
I think it was 17. And Edie was terrible, by the way. He couldn't hit a shot.
He was horrible.
He was horrible.
He couldn't hit a shot by the rim. He got abused on the defensive side of the ball the entire game. But because of his size, the few minutes he was out there, he snagged a bunch of rebounds. And that's really annoying. So yeah, I'll definitely be having some off the bench Steven Adams rebounds plus prop over the course of the entire season.
By the way, you know how though we were acknowledging how bad Edie was? He was 4 of 11 from the floor. Fun fact: he had the highest plus minus in the entire team.
Wow, really? It felt like they were going at him really, really hard.
Early on, they were, but then Memphis kind of mucked it up and they got to the paint a bit more. But that was one thing I noticed as the game went on. As bad as Edie looked, I thought they needed him on the floor because Golden State had no answers on the glass to deal with him. And now you have Şengün and Adams. Yes, I know that the three-point shooting for Curry can be lethal in this series by just having Steven Adams and drop coverage, etc. At the same point, though, if Edie's going to give you that much trouble and the guy can't really hit a layup, Adams and Şengün might kill you in the series. That's why I think Houston can steal a couple games and why I might go 7.
When I say the smallest of bets, I mean the smallest of bets, but I'm going to probably just place one. Steven Adams to lead the series rebounding is 45-1. I understand he's coming off the bench. I understand he's coming off the bench right now, people. I get Albert Şengün is there. If anything, and remember, Albert Şengün does have injury history in his history. But if anything happens to Şengün, or if it could be that they are literally neck and neck with each other every single game, like 10-10, 11-10, 9-12. They could be right there with each other still, even in shorter minutes for Steven Adams. Because that's really all Steven Adams is doing. You're not getting anything offensively from him.
There's also a path where he has a Valanciunas game where he puts up 11 rebounds in 12 minutes.
Yeah, man. The Steven Adams at 45-1 to be the series total rebounds leader. Really, really fun. I'm playing it.
Yeah, I was trying to think of any interesting props I'd be tempted by. I mean, Curry's going to lead in points most likely. If you want to argue Butler at 390, I'm not going to stop you. But one of those two will lead. So maybe if you want to go actually for an arbitrage, if you want to go for Curry and Butler to lead the series in points, Curry's minus 140, Butler's plus 390. I don't see anybody on Houston leading the series in points. So you can take those two and probably automatically guarantee profit. Is that a fair statement?
Yep.
So I'd go with that. 3s, Curry's minus 600. He'll win it. 4 rebounds, Şengün's at 220. Thought about maybe going Draymond at 10-1 because he's going to have to play 37 minutes a game.
Yep.
He might get ejected in one of these games, but I think you're looking at Draymond, who has to be the de facto center in these small ball lineups. 10-1's intriguing. I think the case for Draymond.
Who gets ejected first, Draymond or Dillon Brooks?
I'll go Brooks. It might be a tie. Might be a dead heat.
They might get a double. They might get double ejected.
I think I would go with Dray. I think Draymond would be, in my opinion, safer to not get ejected first because the refs let him get away with more complaining than anybody else in the entire league in NBA history.
Okay.
So Draymond will say things that are over the line on a regular basis, and he gets away with it. And Dillon Brooks would not get that same luxury. So I would say Brooks if I had to pick who gets ejected first. That's
a really good angle. Good angle. I'll go with
there should be a bet. Somebody should request a betting market on that.
Yeah, 100%. I would play it.
But I would say Brooks. I think Draymond would be favored actually, and I think you'd get plus money on Dillon.
And I would take the plus money on. Yep.
Yeah.
Good angle. All right. Yeah, that's about it, Scott. before we get to best bets for these series, got to talk to people about Underdog Fantasy. Underdog Fantasy Pick'em. You can pick your favorite players' fantasy stats higher or lower and have a chance to win up to 100x. We drop honest Underdog Fantasy Pick'em lineups every single time we have games, so make sure you stick around and you check those out. Sign up with promo code NBA SGPN to claim your special pick and first time deposit offer up to $1,000 in bonus credits. That's UnderdogFantasy.com. Promo code NBA SGPN. We're also brought to you by Rhythm, your home for AI back picks and props. Rhythm is now live for Major League Baseball, NBA, and golf. So they're so good. The picks feel so good. It feels like cheating. You can build your own model, and it's super duper simple and easy. I'm telling you, I know you can do it because I can do it. So Rhythm has some amazing deals going on right now. 25% off their monthly subscription. Promo code SGPN25 and 50% off their annual subscription. Promo code SGPN50. So make sure you use one of those two promo codes, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. Promo code SGPN25 or SGPN50. All right. Best bets. We've got we both are lockstep. I think Orlando's winning a game.
We've agreed on everything, by the way, for the
Yeah, we
sake of
have.
these series. We have the
Yeah,
same
for
pick.
these two, we really have. So just recapping, Orlando winning a game. I am going to sprinkle on Orlando to win too.
Okay.
Just out of principle. And if it hits, I'll be really pissed if I didn't do it. We've got Houston actually making this competitive. And so we kind of like this to go 7. We both think Golden State is going to ultimately end up winning, but we'll play it some type of length. If you could do like a series over Golden State money line, I think that is a better play. So you just kind of save yourself if it goes 6 or 7. That's
Well,
actually
Houston,
how I
there's
would
no
play it.
value on Golden State from the actual markets because they're laying too big of a number for what we wanted.
Yeah.
So
I would something like that. See if you could parlay those together and get that down, that price down. But we like something like that. But Golden State 6, Golden State 7. And yeah, that's that Adam Sprinkle. That's getting an Adam Sprinkle from me for sure. And I think I'm gonna play Jason Tatum as the leading scorer. Like, how does he not? If he's not leading scorer, I'll be so disappointed in Jason Tatum. I'm not gonna lie.
yeah, we have the exact same play there. I'm going with Tatum to lead the series in scoring. I have to. I feel
Yeah.
like with Brown potentially missing a game, with him also not being 100%, it's really a spot where volume should reign supreme for Tatum. He's taking more shots than everybody else in the team, and we're picking Boston to win the series. So last time I checked, 2 + 2 is 4.
Yeah.
Quick maths. So I'll go with Tatum, minus 145, I believe, to be the leading scorer in the series. I think that's the best way to go for a prop. The interesting one, though, is for the dog on the show, because I feel like I should take something from that Rocket series because I don't want to double down on that Celtic series. But the question is, what do I want to take? And I was hoping that one book would have a total road wins prop. I know that we have seen that before, but I don't see it, which is kind of frustrating. I thought about maybe taking Warriors to win game 1 and series at plus 135. But I think the Rockets could win game 1. I mean, Rockets game 1, Warriors series is plus 260. Like, that's the interesting part of this. So I'm pretty torn here. Okay, you know what? I'll take the better approach here. I think Golden State wins game 3 at home.
Yeah.
Give me Golden State 2-1 after 3 games.
I knew that's where you were going with that.
At
Yes.
plus 120.
Yep, I like it.
I'll see if I can find a better price quickly, but I do think Golden State will win one of the first 2 games. We agree on that. And I see Golden State winning the first home game in the series. So I like the plus 120. Just trying to stall if I could find anything else. I don't think I'm going to, but I can hope for the best. Let me just quickly see. Big bucks, and no whammy. I see plus 132.
All right.
On FanDuel.
All right. Not bad. All right, Scott. Anything else for people before we get up out of here?
No. Once again, that Warriors series should be a lot of fun. Might be ugly, but those teams hate each other. And Udoka might curse out Curry. The post-game press conference chess match, by the way, is going to be phenomenal. With Udoka basically calling Curry a flopper and Curry yelling at the Rockets, grabbing Curry in every play. There's going to be a lot of coaching nuance with how they manipulate the refs in the series. Something to keep in mind.
I think that Ime Udoka thinks he's a player sometimes, man.
I love it though.
I do. I really do. But it's just so funny. He really does think he's a player. Like,
Yeah.
it's like multiple times, and I'm like, you about to get out there and box with him, bro?
Yeah. And a lot of people are going to theorize that the league is going to try to manipulate a Warriors-Lakers second round, which, once again, I think might happen anyway. So they might be thinking the refs might be skewed to Golden State anyway. The ref differential in different games is going to matter a lot. So actually keep in mind the ref report for the series. I think it's going to matter.
Oh, no. And we're going to get back into the ref report heavy during the playoffs.
Foster better get a game.
I would just like to. This is how I know the NBA's not rigging things, Scott. Because if I was a rigger in the NBA, and maybe this is why I'm not, maybe. But literally every single time we've done the ref report, we've never had 3 refs that were all good at one thing. If I was rigging games, I would make sure I had 3 refs that were good at one thing. If I want the Warriors to win, all 3 of those refs are going to be good to the road team.
Unless you believe the crew chief just has significant power that he can basically determine everything.
Yeah, pretty much. But like we never see it's always 2-1, 1-2, something like that. It's never everybody is just good to one side. And that's how I know that they're not 100% rigging things, or at least they're doing a lot better. Because all 3 of those refs would have been a road team refs for sure. All of them road team refs.
So I actually wanted to see something quickly. Oh God. All right. Today, 36 minutes ago, the NBA had a press release of all 36 referees that will be in playoff games. He's back. He's back off the shelf.
Oh, is he? He's back?
We got Scott Foster back.
He's yeah, he's
We got him back. He's back off the IR.
He's healthy.
We have Scott Foster in the series.
Yes.
It's going to happen. They announced it like half an hour ago, but Scott Foster is one of the names listed for active referees. He will 100% get at least one game in the series.
Scott Foster off the shelf, back from injury.
It's why you stay to the end of the show, because we break down the ref availability, but Scott Foster will be getting at least one of these games, and probably at least one Laker game.
Yeah.
Oh,
man.
Keep in mind.
I hope Sonny Brothers doesn't get a Laker game. the no call in that Boston Lakers game where LeBron fell to his knees.
That's still my favorite ejection of all time, because Pat Bev showed the camera to the referee and got ejected.
Like if you're gonna get ejected, get your money's worth.
That's a hell of an ejection. That's he brought a prop in. How often do you see a prop for an ejection?
I have to think that's one of his favorite ejections. I have to think that's one of his favorite ejections. And if you look at the video, he doesn't even have the picture pulled up. He just literally took the camera and showed him.
He just took it from a photographer.
Showed him a camera screen. He didn't even have the picture shown up.
Do you think Pat Bev looks back kindly or negatively to the shove on Chris Paul in the playoff game?
Yeah, he looks kind.
Do you think that's one of his favorites or his least favorites in hindsight?
It's probably because I mean, look at how Jeff Teague looks at the shove to LeBron. He's like, yeah, I did it.
Yeah, I'm just asking because I feel like if you're talking about a short list of Pat Bev injections, the Chris Paul shove might be up there, or it might be down there, depending on how he looks at it. But that camera one's probably the best ejection of all time.
Yeah, for sure.
Besides maybe Tim Duncan sitting doing nothing, getting ejected.
No. I was literally just about to go back and say, other than Tim Duncan absolutely doing nothing.
Yeah, that's another one too. But
and when Rasheed Wallace was staring down the ref and he got scared and ejected.
Don't intimidate me. Yeah, then he just goes, "You're gone."
He's trying to intimidate me. Yeah. He's out of here.
We need more. We need more mic'd up refs though. That's what we really need.
Why are the refs not mic'd up anymore? I gotta hear this.
Even in baseball, if you remember the Syndergaard ejection, our asses are in the jackpot. You had that soundbite going on. I haven't heard a ref soundbite since basically.
Yeah, no, they really should. I'm curious what the sound is, but dude, yeah, the Tim Duncan one for just being on the pitch laughing.
Yeah, it's an all-timer.
Oh man, yeah, no. That's definitely one of my favorites too. It's up there. Wow. Great memories in the NBA. The NBA is such a messy league. All right, Scott, anything else for people before we get up out of here?
No, not really. Once again, I think we decided we are not going to break down the 1 versus 8 matchups because why bother? And we're not going to find those matchups until Friday night anyway. So it's really just not worth it. We think the Thunder, I mean, we'll talk about it more once we get to the game ones that come up, but the Thunder aren't losing and the Cavs aren't losing.
So here's my breakdown. I'm not the Cavs one. It doesn't matter. The Cavs could actually dominate that series.
Miami could win a couple games. Who knows? But I think the Cavs are going to win the series in at least 6-5, something like that.
I think that if it's Dallas, I will be on Dallas spread in some way, shape, or form.
Okay.
I think that they are incredibly long. It really matches up, really tough for OKC, and they just been they're the only team this season with a winning record versus OKC. I didn't
To be
even
fair,
realize.
OKC did sit multiple guys in like each of those meetings, but yes.
No, actually, but I think it's worse because Dallas was not 100% in those games. Those games that they lost, those are games without Luka and Kyrie. One game without Kyrie, one game without no AD in those games.
No, you're right. I'm just throwing out OKC was also missing some guys, but yes, that is true.
SGA played. That's the thing that's getting me. SGA played, and they still lost outright to a bad Mavericks team. So I think that if it's the Mavericks, some way, shape, or form, I'll be on the Mavericks like plus 2.5 games, plus 3, whatever it is, or whatever makes sense. Some way, shape, or form, I'll be on the Mavericks. Anything else, I'm all over the 1 seeds.
Yeah, I agree. So
and I
anyway,
don't think they're going to win. I just think that they're going to cover this spread.
The point is, this is the last series episode we're going to have.
Yep.
So for future rounds, we are going to merge the series previews with the game 1 for future rounds. But for the first round, we thought, why not? A lot of series will do 2 per episode. So there we go.
All right. He's at Reichel Radio. I'm at @reallyreal__. Make sure you give us a follow. Make sure you leave us a 5-star rating review wherever you get your podcast, and youtube.com/NBA Gambling Podcast, where you can go ahead and drop a like, comment on the video, subscribe if you're not subscribed, all of that. And also remember, hold on 2 seconds, because I'm pretty sure there's still no WNBA win total. So can't really.
They're going to drop them when we least suspect them.
I know, man. And I just can't wait for one day when I look up there and see win totals. But yeah, still no win totals. So
when does the season officially start, by the way? A month?
Yeah, it's officially a month from today, May 17th.
Okay.
I will be in New York, actually, Scott.
Nice.
So I'm gonna go to the Liberty ring night and watch Jewel Lloyd and the Aces beat the shit out of Liberty.
Nice. Maybe we'll meet up.
Yep, 100%. Brooklyn. All right, that's it. We have nothing else saying, nothing else. Do no other way of ending podcast. Just gonna do like this. We are out of here.